artificial intelligence. I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? Transforming industries left and right.
Absolutely.
And maybe nowhere is its impact or potential impact more critical right now than in, well, the really sensitive, data-heavy world of regulatory affairs. We're starting to see AI move beyond just, simple productivity tools. It's actually getting into the core of regulatory intelligence now.
Power this key functions.
Exactly. Helping global businesses keep tabs on changes, make these huge, sometimes billion-dollar decisions faster than ever.
Welcome to DDReg Knowledge Capsule. Okay, so our mission today in this deep dive is really to cut through some of the noise, separate the massive industry buzz, maybe some overblown expectations around AI and regulatory intelligence, RI we'll call it, from what it can actually do. It's real power.
Yeah, the practical utility.
Right. We want you to walk away knowing, okay, this is what AI can realistically do for strategic compliance, and just as importantly, what it can't. And maybe just to level set everyone listening, let's quickly define RI. Regulatory intelligence, fundamentally, it's this ongoing structured process. It's about evaluating, interpreting this. Just ocean of changing regulatory data.
An ocean is right.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's the foundation, that supports smart strategic decisions and helps ensure you stay compliant. Whether you're in pharma, medical devices, chemicals, it plays across the board.
So it's the thing that keeps the whole ship, the whole global organization, kind of steering correctly, even when the rules keep changing, sometimes contradicting each other.
Precisely. Good RI helps companies proactively tweak their internal processes, get them aligned with the big international guidelines, PMDA in Japan, FDA in the US, EMA over in Europe. It's vital for guiding how you plan new submissions. And critically, for spotting those subtle trends in what regulators are doing or thinking, so you can anticipate changes, pivot, not just scramble to react after the fact.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Because whenever you get a technology this transformative, hitting a sector that's complex, high stakes, regulatory affairs, fits that bill perfectly. The hype machine just goes into overdrive.
Always does.
And the source material we looked at is very clear on this. There's a big gap, sometimes a dangerous one, between what people say AI will do, vendors, enthusiasts, and what it can practically actually achieve in a real compliant environment. So let's start with that reality check. What's the hype versus the ground truth?
Yeah, tempering expectations is so important here. We've kind of boiled down 5 key bits of industry buzz that honestly can lead companies down the wrong path, maybe investing unwisely.
Okay.
The first big one is this idea floating around that AI is just going to completely replace regulatory affairs, folks. Human jobs, gone.
Yeah, I hear that concern a lot. People get nervous. But if AI can read millions of pages of guidance in seconds, why wouldn't it replace the human analyst?
Well, because regulatory affairs isn't just about crunching data. It takes human judgment. It takes understanding context, like what's the real intent behind this new guidance? What's the current feeling at a particular agency?
Oh, the softer stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe most crucial are the relationships, the soft skills needed to actually engage with the authorities, that human element. For the really high-stakes decisions, it's still irreplaceable. AI assists. It doesn't replace the core.
Okay, fair point. But what about strategy? Surely, if you feed an AI tons of data on successful submissions, it can just generate the perfect one-click regulatory strategy for your new drug. That sounds like what some brochures promise.
That is a massive oversimplification. Look, AI can definitely support strategy development. It can give you data snapshots, analyze historical outcomes. That's useful stuff.
Right.
But it just cannot replace the actual decision-making that has to factor in your company's business goals, your tolerance for risk in the pipeline, maybe geopolitical factors. Strategy needs that executive judgment, risk acceptance. It's not just an algorithm spitting out an answer.
Got it. Okay, and the dream of fully automated compliance. Just set up the AI and let it handle all the quarterly reports, the checks between departments.
Again, that's setting the bar way too high for where the tech is now. Compliance isn't siloed. It's a shared responsibility across the whole organization. It needs constant collaboration, legal, R&D, manufacturing, regulatory teams all working together. AI can help monitor things, flag potential issues, sure. But automate the whole complex negotiation and process management that goes into real compliance. Not happening.
Okay. I also hear this a lot, especially with structured data. AI should mean zero false positives or negatives, right? Isn't that the whole point of machine learning? Perfect accuracy.
Absolutely not. And frankly, expecting perfection is a huge risk in itself.
hmm
AI models are only ever as good as the data they were trained on.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Pretty much. If that training data is limited or biased or just too general, the models will make mistakes. They need constant validation. You always have to account for potential errors. AI is powerful, yes, but it's not infallible, especially not in the messy, evolving world of regulations.
Right. And the last one, this idea that you build one great AI model and boom, you can just deploy it globally, use it for RI everywhere. US, EU, India, doesn't matter.
That might be the most unrealistic expectation of all. Regulations are incredibly varied. Different structures, different levels of complexity, different languages even.
Totally different cultures of regulation, too.
Exactly. A model that's fine-tuned for the FDA's way of doing things in the U.S. often needs completely different training, maybe even a different underlying architecture, to work effectively for, say, the EU's framework or India's new DPDP Act. Regulations are fundamentally local jurisdiction-specific, sector-specific. There's no magic one-size-fits-all AI model here.
Okay, that distinction, separating the buzz from the reality, that gives us a really solid footing. Now, this is where it gets genuinely interesting, I think. Because once you look past the hype and focus on the practical stuff, AI's utility in RI is actually pretty transformative.
It really is.
The source material highlights 6 specific practical ways AI is enhancing RI right now, delivering real, tangible benefits. Let's dive into those.
Okay. Well, the first major practical win is in automated document processing. Think about it. Regulators put out just massive amounts of unstructured data. New guidance docs, updates, meeting minutes, public comments.
It's overwhelming just to track.
Totally. AI is uniquely good at scanning and reviewing these huge volumes efficiently. It can pull out key pieces of information, specific drug names, compliance deadlines, which regions are affected.
So this is way beyond just basic keyword searching, which we know is pretty hit or miss in this field.
Exactly right. This is where the advanced natural language processing models, things like BERT or GPT, really show their value. They go beyond simple word matching.
They understand the meaning.
Yes, they understand context, nuance, industry jargon within that unstructured text, so they can accurately classify documents, label them, extract that key metadata. It makes finding what you need in those long, complex regulatory tests so much easier and faster.
Okay, processing the documents is one thing, but how does AI help strategically? Seeing what's coming.
Great question. That leads straight into the second use case, trend and signal detection. AI can constantly sift through that flow of regulatory data over time. It filters out the routine noise and highlights the important, sometimes subtle, shifts.
Like an early warning system.
Sort of, yeah. A good example might be spotting a steady increase in certain types of submissions, maybe applications involving AI or machine learning in medical devices in a specific region long before there's an official policy announcement.
Ah, so you see the pattern emerging.
Right, and that lets your organization spot potential gaps in your own compliance frameworks, maybe adjust your strategy preemptively before everyone else is scrambling.
So AI acts like a sophisticated radar, really, looking out at the future of compliance.
It can function that way. And speaking of finding information, the third utility is semantic search and contextual retrieval. You know how frustrating traditional keyword search can be with very specific, nuanced industry terms?
Oh, yeah. You get a million irrelevant hits or nothing at all.
Exactly. AI-powered search engines, though, they understand the conceptual context of your query. If you search for a related concept or even a synonym, they can pull up the relevant international regulatory info much more accurately and quickly.
And faster access means faster, better decisions. Okay, so beyond just finding data, how does AI fit into the day-to-day work of a regulatory team, the actual workflow?
That brings us to the fourth function, task prioritization and workflow automation. AI can actually learn the recurring patterns in how work gets done. It can then automatically prioritize tasks based on deadlines or maybe a calculated regulatory impact score.
So it knows what's urgent.
It can learn to predict urgency. For instance, if a high-priority update drops from a major agency, the AI could automatically flag it and even assign it to the right subject matter expert on the relevant regional team. It might even suggest the next steps based on how similar updates were handled successfully in the past.
Okay, that could really shift teams from constantly reacting to being more proactive in managing their workload. Now, for global companies, Translation is always a huge bottleneck, dealing with documents in dozens of languages.
Absolutely. And that's the fifth key application.
Right.
Multilingual processing and translation. This is a massive efficiency gain. Using specialized AI tools, you mentioned DeepL or Google AutoML earlier,
Right.
organizations can get pretty high-quality automated translation and localization of regulations that aren't published in English. This just opens up access for global teams, helps them quickly understand updates from anywhere in the world, levels the playing field big time.
A huge efficiency boost there. Okay, and finally, let's loop back to prediction. You said AI can't give you a perfect strategy, but what about predictive insights? How reliable can that be?
Well, it's not a crystal ball, obviously, but it can provide pretty strong estimations based on historical data.
Like what?
Like, by analyzing data from similar submissions made in different markets in the past, AI models can estimate realistic timelines for regulatory reviews, or even anticipate the kinds of questions authorities are likely to ask about a specific product or submission package.
Based on past experience with similar things.
Exactly. That capability really helps improve planning, how you allocate resources, and helps you standardize your approach across different countries.
Okay, the utility is undeniable there. Really practical stuff. But that kind of power definitely comes with risks. What did the source materials say about the guardrails? What do your companies need to do to manage these potential downsides?
Yeah, absolutely critical to address the risks proactively. Three main areas stand out. The first is what's called model drift, meaning regulations are always changing, right? So a model trained on yesterday's rules will inevitably become less accurate over time as the regulatory landscape shifts. It drifts from reality.
Oh,
The mitigation here has to be continuous. You have to regularly retrain your models with fresh data and constantly track their performance against actual real-world regulatory changes. Make sure they stay accurate.
Makes sense. If the rules change, the AI's understanding needs to change too. What about the risk of bias? Or the AI just getting things wrong?
That's the second big risk, bias or misinterpretation. To tackle this, organizations really need to limit how much they rely on AI for the most critical, high-stakes decisions. You need human judgment there.
Keep the human in the loop.
Definitely. And you have to rigorously test the models, especially against weird edge cases, the regulatory exceptions, not just the common stuff. And always, always cross-validate the AI's output using multiple trusted data sources. Don't just take its word for it.
Okay. And given that these AI outputs can directly affect a company's legal standing, market access, what about the serious issue of regulatory and legal liability?
Yeah, that's the third one. For any decision that's deemed high risk, anything impacting patient safety, core submission strategy, or facing potential non-compliance penalties, the mitigation has to be clear. Robust human oversight and legal review are non-negotiable.
So the AI can suggest, but a human expert signs off.
Precisely. The AI supports the recommendation, provides the data, but the human experts retain final authority and, importantly, the accountability.
These internal checks are vital. But it feels like this connects to a much bigger picture now, this global movement around regulating AI itself. These powerful systems used inside companies for RI, they're now falling under government rules too.
That's a fascinating and crucial point. Organizations suddenly need to worry not just about the regulations their products face, but the regulations their internal tools face. If you connect this to the broader landscape, you see major legislation like the EU AI Act, which came into force in 2024. That act demands strict transparency, human oversight, detailed documentation, traceability, especially for AI systems classified as high risk.
So, why would an internal RI tool be high risk under the EU AI Act? It's not controlling a power grid or something.
Because if that RI system is used to generate data that informs a final decision on, say, market access for a drug or critical safety assessments or compliance reports that go to regulators, well, those are high-risk functions regulated by authorities.
Ah, I see. The system itself becomes part of that high-risk chain.
Exactly. So the internal AI tool itself might need to meet the EU's strict requirements for design, testing, and governance. The regulatory spotlight shines on the tool, not just the final product or decision.
That raises the compliance bar internally, like exponentially.
It really does. And it's not just the EU. You also see the framework developing in the U.S., particularly through the U.S. AI Bill of Rights, pushing for principles like transparency, accountability, non-discrimination. And then in India, you have the DPDP Act from 2023, which strongly emphasizes consent and data privacy that impacts how you can even use data to train these internal AI systems.
Okay, so pulling this all together,
Right.
What does it really mean for you, the person actually trying to implement these AI systems for RI? It sounds like it's way more than just buying a piece of software and plugging it in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, success demands a really strategic, very well-governed approach. AI can definitely enhance regulatory intelligence, streamline things, support better decisions, but you have to be disciplined. You have to focus just as much on managing the risks as you do on chasing the efficiency gains.
So maybe we can leave you, the listener, with three core takeaways, three strategies based on what the source material concludes.
Sounds good. First, start small. Don't try to boil the ocean. Focus initially on low-risk applications where you can get high impact. Things like automating the tracking of public regulatory updates, or maybe metadata extraction from documents. Prove the value before you tackle the really complex stuff like full submission strategy.
Okay, start small, prove value. What's second?
Second, prioritize data governance and quality above absolutely everything else. I keep saying it, but AI is only as good as the data it learns from. Clean, well-managed, reliable data. That has to be the rock-solid foundation for any AI initiative in RI.
The
Non-negotiable.
data integrity first. Got it. And third.
And third, always, always operate with a human-in-the-loop model. AI is there to complement your human experts, to augment their abilities, not replace them. Your experienced staff, they provide the crucial context, the interpretation, the final strategic judgment that compliance ultimately requires.
Start small, data quality, human in the loop. Makes sense.
This raises a really interesting final thought, something for you to consider.
Yeah.
Given how complex these new AI regulations are getting, like the EU AI Act actually regulating the tools themselves, do you think organizations are going to need like a whole new dedicated compliance department just focused on governing the AI systems they use inside their own RI processes?
It's a fascinating question. The sheer complexity, especially of laws like the EU AI Act, it really does suggest the answer might be yes. It's sort of the ultimate meta-regulation challenge, isn't it? Regulating the systems that help you regulate.
Regulating the regulator. Wow, that is a powerful thought to end on. Well, hopefully we've distilled this complex topic down, given you some clear insights you can use strategically in your own planning. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.